Hello and welcome to Literary Gladiators. In general, we discuss and debate literature in all of its forms. Today, we are going to be discussing a topic in literature in all of its forms. Let's meet the panel.
Hi, I'm Larry.
I'm Cyndi. I'm Tara.
And I'm Josh. And the topic that we are going to be discussing is trigger warnings. The way that I wanted to approach this is that I want to give each participant about 30 seconds to discuss their position on trigger warnings. Are they for them? Are they against them? Under what contingencies? And if what kind of approach do they feel is most appropriate when it comes to displaying trigger warnings in a particular work? And then after everybody gives their point, we'll respond to each other. And Larry, we'll start with you.
Okay, so trigger warnings. I find the term triggering slightly because of the fact that I'm not crazy about the word. It just reminds me of peak wokeness. Like, it's one of those things that came out of 2015 and when society was on the most woke that it's been. I think we're kind of on the back end of that now, hopefully. But I'm not crazy about the term. But I'm not opposed, like, if a publisher or an author wants to call something, like sensitive topics and give a warning that there's sensitive topics in the work and then list those off. I'd be more amenable to that than the term trigger warning itself. I find it implies that like an emotional inability to process or to be exposed to certain materials, and that you have an uncontrollable emotional response to something, and that's an expected or acceptable behavior. I find that to be incorrect and wrong, and I think that if people have trauma, they should be working through it and trying to get to the point where they're not triggered by it. So I prefer like sensitive topics or something like that to be what it's called, and trigger warning. I don't like that term.
Cyndi?
I would kind of agree with that to some extent. Writing, a trigger warning for particularly extreme violence and such, that makes sense. But to call them, my issue, like Larry, is more with the term itself. I do agree that there should be a distinction between things that are meant for the general reader, things that are made for young people, and things that are adult content. When it comes to things such as violence against women, yes, absolutely, because it could be a wonderful story, but if it's got that theme in there, the person who might be picking up that book should absolutely know it's there and should be able to find that information readily, so that they're not brought back to, thank you, to a very painful moment, and then whatever therapy they may hopefully be in is forced to be extended. You don't know that.
Tara?
I'm for it. I think what people should, on certain subjects, they should be told that it doesn't even have to be the book. Now there's places online that you can look it up yourself, what trigger warnings are, what are the trigger warnings are for you specifically, what's specifically your element, what you can't, yourself, what you can and cannot handle. And there's websites like Storygraph where they list the major, minor, and in between. Yes, there will be books that will have in the front like dark romances, and maybe like books that have like really dark subjects, some horror, but like if you read horror, it's gonna be that. But sometimes they're in there when it's like not for extreme readers, because there's extreme horror, but like people already know they're reading for the extreme. But when it's not extreme horror, it's a regular horror, and there's something in there that could, like, let's say it could be miscarriages or something, or something like that, and a woman went through that, or like a school shooting or something, and that could be in there. And obviously, like the way the world is, people don't want to read something like that. So like sometimes that there's obviously people are gonna need to read the synopsis to know it, but like you don't. Sometimes it's not even in like the synopsis. So like sometimes people need the warning, or if even sometimes not even in the review either. So like if they're gonna read the review, if whatever their person's thing is, it's not gonna be there. But also depending on the book. So, but like I also think that a young, like let's say it's like a middle grade, and if there's a trigger warning in there, it's gonna be more specific than generalized because it's for young readers. And so like that's my only thing. That's it. I'm done.
I am a believer in choices and freedom, and I do feel that when you list out trigger warnings from the get-go to a general setting, it creates a creative roadblock where it lays out spoilers. However, I feel that for people that feel the need to have trigger warnings in order to, because of something that they deal with as far as anxiety or mental health concern is concerned, I think that the best thing for writers to do is to let them know at the beginning where they can find the trigger warnings, like they do in the book Alchemized, where if you want to look at the trigger warnings, go to this page in the book, toward the back of the book, so that they have that they can approach it the way that they feel is necessary. Whereas a general reader who might not be triggered can approach it the way that they do. But I do feel that a general reader, there are things that are going to get under their skin, and I think that there are some instances where it's supposed to get under your skin, because topics that are often listed in trigger warnings, such as sexual assault and rape, are not comfortable topics for anyone, nor should they be, accepted or practiced in society. And being able to read about it and be informed about it should really have an impact to them and into the world around them. It's kind of like with fire drills, where they are an uncomfortable noise, but that's what they're supposed to be, because that's the way that people are going to respond to the fact that this is an emergency, you got to get out. They need to take that seriously. The same thing with pictures of the aftermath of smoking. I know of a circumstance where somebody was triggered by a picture of lungs because of somebody smoking, and they wanted it taken down. The teacher declined because she said that by looking at that picture, maybe it will prevent you from doing so. But there are, I think that there are, like, going back to the fire drill point, there are people that take startle seizures. They should be able to have that warning. There are instances where a warning is necessary, and that accommodation should be provided. But then when you have, like, one of my favorite books was What Happened to Rachel Riley, where they listed the trigger warnings right at the beginning, and it did, while I really enjoyed my reading experience, I knew what was going to happen. I think that if she put it in the back of the book, it would have been she says in the blurb that something happened, but we the mystery was why it happened. So that was a bit of a
Don't know the author.
yeah, that was on the, it was a bit of a creative flaw. But I understand why she did it, but I think there was a better way to do it. And I'm going to leave it at that because I think that now we could, I want to get everybody else back into the discussion and we can respond to one another. So does anybody want to say anything to the other about...
I don't think they're spoilers unless you really know, unless you're really good at like depicting the story. Unless what I've seen, they're like just general words to put together, and I won't know the plot. I'm good at like reading like mysteries, and sometimes I know off that who it is if I read it for how they do it. But like when there's trigger warnings in the front, because I read a book that said essay, but like it was a graphic essay. So like, okay, well it's gonna be graphic, but it doesn't say how it's done and how the person did it.
But they may expect something of that.
Yeah.
They may expect it to take that direction.
Yes, but sometimes, but like you don't know when. It could be in like the first page. It could be the last page.
But people are going to be, they're going to have their eye out for that right from the get-go.
Yeah, but like some people don't. They're gonna read it if they're like me. They don't have trigger warnings, and they're gonna read it, and they're like, okay, whatever, it's in there. But like when someone who has it, they have the choice to read it or not.
I think that they have, but that's why you list it in the back. Don't list it in the right at the beginning.
I don't care where it's at.
Yeah, you do what works for you, and I think that
because it doesn't give away the book unless they're going into detail what exactly it is, and then most authors don't unless it's for middle grade and they're gonna be specific why, because it's middle grade.
But I mean, I think that for somebody that needs it, it's necessary to have it available. Yeah, but I think that there's some that if it's somebody from the general population, or no, if it's somebody that's with the general mindset, and by that I mean somebody that doesn't need the trigger warning, they
don't have to read it. They can skip the page.
I mean,
it's easy. Like, oh, trigger warnings. Turn the page. You don't even have to read it.
That's if somebody, if they're very specific and they mention what page the trigger warning is on. And
I've never seen it.
No, they have. I haven't seen it either. But, and then there's also topics that I would note to avoid because it's something that's going to make me uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, like what are we talking about? Like with triggers, right? What is going to happen if somebody who quote unquote needs a trigger warning reads something that is triggering?
They're gonna revert back, like whatever therapy they went through. They're gonna revert back to from the beginning, and then they have to go back to. Someone might have to go back.
It could
therapy.
be post-traumatic
I don't believe
stress.
that. I don't believe that's true.
I really don't know. Like I personally don't have that, so I can't speak on somebody. But like,
I do know that with PTSD, that like you know, like, one of the most promising ways in treating it is to actually to bring people back to those moments in their lives that they experienced the trauma, so that they can talk through it.
Cognitive behavior. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that the thing
in a therapy setting, but like let's just say like they're reading a book and it's not through a therapy setting, and they're not like in. Yeah, they're gonna be in a safe space at home, but they're not like. There's a difference between being in a therapy setting and then reading something that like let's say the person's reading a book that has war and it's very similar to their experience, and they didn't know that, and then they're not ready. They're not in that therapy like space, and they're gonna be like, we're kind of like they have to like, if they're not to the point where they have the tools to handle it at home, because sometimes like everyone's gonna be in a different spot in their like whatever their therapy is. So like maybe the person's in the beginning and didn't know it was the same experiences almost close to what they had, but they don't have the tools to get out of it at home yet. They're gonna it's not gonna be good because they're gonna be in they're gonna go right back to whatever happened to them.
I think every method works differently for different people. So there might be people that their solution might be, as Larry says, is to expose them to these things and give them the guidance to maybe reverse their trauma. However, there are some people that it might not work for, and it might even make it worse.
Yeah, make it worse.
Well, I don't know about that. That's a
Or at least
speculation.
keep it stagnant.
That's just people. People are all different. No one's gonna like respond to red, but or someone could respond to red and make a green response. Like that's the best way I can explain it. Or like let's say like someone's trying to make let's say people are gonna make a cookie. They follow the same recipe, but not every recipe is gonna taste the same, because people are it's gonna be different. So everyone's different. No one is like everyone's mind isn't molded the same. We're not all assimilated. Like what's that Cyborg in Star Trek? No one's a cyborg. Everyone's different.
Yeah, I agree that everybody is different to an extent, but the human experience is somewhat universal. And what I'm trying to say is that, like, it's something, when something traumatic happens to you, it's not, I don't think that we should be telling people that the appropriate response is to lock it away and never encounter any kind of discussion or description of similar events. I'm not sure that is a healthy thing to do, right? It sounds repressive. Like you're taking something that terrible that happened to you, and you're saying, okay, don't talk about it, don't think about it. Well, I don't think that's healthy. For reading it, right, or for reading other accounts or descriptions of similar activities can help you, I would think. First of all, realize that you're not alone in that, and that other people have gone through situations similar to you, and that can actually be helpful, as well as the benefits that come from looking back at things in a more detached setting, where you can process a little bit of what happened. So like I said, I'm not opposed to the idea of writing. I don't like the term, because to me it makes it sound like the acceptable response is to like have these emotional reactions, when in fact what we should be striving for, and what people should be striving for, is to be able to deal with it, and to be able to recognize what happened and to overcome it.
I think that there are parts where I do agree, where I think we have to make it. I think that there should be some effort to help somebody overcome their triggers.
Yeah, like I'm not saying like to ignore it or to stop talking about it. Like people, what I'm saying is people are in different journeys of their issue, and they're going through whatever the issue is. But there's just certain times where someone might not be able to handle the book because the part where they're at. So I don't know them, but like some people I watch on YouTube, they went through abusive relationship, and for the longest time they couldn't read anything from that, but they worked through it, and now they can read it. They can read about being in an abusive relationship. If there's abusive relationships in that book, they're okay with it now. But I guess a couple years ago they couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So they knew their whatever their journey is, and that's where their journey are now.
Yeah.
So, but they didn't stop, like, put it away or stop dealing with it, because if you're gonna put it away, no one in society is gonna put it away and hide it. No, what I'm saying is not put it away, but like wherever they're in your journey.
And I kind of agree. I think that we need to. They need to be able to do it at their own pace.
Yes.
You shouldn't
push them.
You shouldn't push them. You should sense what you feel when it comes to that kind of circumstance. You should sense what kind of steps need to be taken, and see what pace is the most appropriate. When it comes to how books should be published, it should be ultimately it should be on the discretion of the writer. The writer should decide. But I think the better way would be to have it so that those people have an option, but the general reader has the option as well. Where if the general reader doesn't want to go in with trigger warnings, they should have the ability not to.
And I think it depends in part on the extent of what is being revealed in the scenes. Like if you're writing fiction, and it's going to be powerfully painful and difficult and explicit, then you might really need to have a trigger warning somewhere in the book. Whereas if it's just kind of like the scene is there but it's not graphic, maybe you don't. I think there's a balance there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that much. And though I think that with something like splatterpunk, for instance, is a faction of horror that.
Yeah, but if it's movie splatterpunk, they're reading for that splatterpunk.
Yes, and they know what they're getting into.
They know what they're getting into. Like just like with other not just splatterpunk, but the other one that's closest to that one, they know they're getting into that hard horror. I forget I said it earlier today in the same video. Hard it's right round splatterpunk, but it's not exactly splatterpunk. It's right
Dark horror or something.
It's like the sister.
Like if you're reading, if you pick up Mayfly, you know what you're getting into.
Yes.
But I think as it is, everybody approaches things differently. Everybody has a different road to where they need to get to, and most importantly, everybody should have the same freedoms and the same choices. They should have equal freedoms and choices. And I think that's what that all comes down to, because I think that when we're approaching literature, it is all about choosing what you want to read, how you want to read it, what kind of works interest you. Do you want to go in? What do you want to feel? Do you want to learn? Do you just want something that's going to make you happy and feel cozy, or do you want to feel an adrenaline rush or a thrill, or do you want to think? Do you want to cry? Do you want to laugh? It all comes down to what are you looking to get out of a work, and I think that the choices start there, and then you go and then also what you don't want to read, what doesn't interest you.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Like I said, I'm not opposed to it. I don't like the term though.
I think that there's some instances where better words or better expressions can be used to describe something. That there are instances where I think that I prefer using other words than the ones that are being used. So, and I think that there's some words that are better used in other ways.
Yeah, because I think culturally we should be encouraging people to face their triggers and to overcome them. So that's why. So I made my point.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else that they want to say, or do you think everything has been?
I think we covered it pretty well.
I pretty much covered it.
Ready then. Feel free to leave down below where you stand on the topic of trigger warnings. And I want to thank you for tuning into this video, and I hope you check out some more videos from our channel. For now, keep reading.